It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
And we are back here on Katz and Cosby. Rita Cosby here. Also, Judge Richard Weinberg and also Vito Fossella. And Vicki, we are so thrilled to have you here, the great Victoria Coates, former Deputy National Security Advisor under Trump. And sure enough, 21 days. We always have our countdown. We should have our little countdown music, because it's like the final countdown. Here it is, 21 days. And of course, Joe Biden is sending anywhere. There's one report that it's $2.5 billion, another $5.9 billion to Ukraine. Is this going to make a difference at this point, Vicki?
Well, Rita, good to be with you guys. Merry Christmas to everybody. This is an outrage. It looks like the number that's correct is the $5.9 billion. It's several different tranches. Some are going through the State Department. Some are going through the Pentagon. Janet Yellen's responsible at the Treasury Department for a piece of this. So this is all this funny accounting we've been seeing from the beginning. And remember, this was part of the $64 billion emergency supplemental passed last spring that was supposed to last the war effort through the end of FY25, which is the end of September of 2025. And just to put that $64 billion in context, what we provide to Israel in solely military assistance is $3.8 billion a year. So what you've got Biden doing is trying to push $64 billion out the door to Ukraine in what looks to me to be about 8 months time, and doing it willy-nilly.
Wow. Repeat that again, because that is stunning, the difference in amount, Victoria.
No, I mean, what we provide to Israel is less than a tenth of what we're doing for Ukraine in less than a year here. And the real kicker of it is a lot of it is for civil society stuff to keep, as the president has said, he wants to keep the lights on in Ukraine. He wants to put something in the pocket of everyday Ukrainians. Why doesn't he feel that way about Americans living in West North Carolina? I mean, I can see, Zelensky asked for bullets. President Trump has said he is open to providing them with bullets if that's what he deems necessary. But why are we doing civil society for a European country when the European Union has an economy roughly the size of the United States? It makes no sense. It
doesn't. And, I want to switch gears because you brought up Israel, Victoria Coates. This is another one. Remember, they arrested that guy who was the head of the hospital in Gaza. And it turned out this was, early on in the war. And they're like, oh, no, we're just a hospital. And the whole entrance to the tunnels was right below the hospital. Turned out even some of the hostages were being held there. And now they just arrested a Gaza hospital director, another one. And he used to write for the New York Times. And Israel is saying he's one of the lead Hamas terrorists. How nice is that? Wow.
No, this again is just exposing the utter corruption of these institutions that are theoretically providing aid to the Palestinians. And it's hospitals, Rita, it's schools, and it's endemic. They've all been infiltrated by Hamas. And, Tony Blinken was questioned by, I believe, the House Foreign Affairs Committee a couple of weeks ago, and he admitted that portions of the assistance we provide to these UN institutions, in this case he was talking about the Taliban, but he's also testified to it going to Hamas, that they know a percentage of these taxpayer dollars will be going to designated terrorist groups. And that's okay with them. That's the price of doing business. And they think it's justifiable. But again, if we can't guarantee that every single dime is actually going to humanitarian aid and not to fund terrorism, why aren't we using that money here at home?
Vito Fossella.
The young couples expecting a baby have this great reveal, right? And the last couple of years, that's what's happened. We've had the greatest reveal of how priorities are being manipulated, how we're sending money to people who are using it for their own personal needs. And at the same time, we are ignoring, as you mentioned, the plight of the people in Western North Carolina who suffered so dramatically, and we're told they're going to send them a check for $750, and the next day they're sending billions overseas. We don't know where the money's going to go, and maybe that's all, not maybe, that will all change on January 20th.
Let's hope.
And this is it, Vito. I mean, last week we couldn't even seem to manage to fund our own government. And this week we have billions of dollars to send to Ukraine. This whole system is just completely broken. And as you said, Rita, 21 days, 3 weeks until President Trump and his team are empowered to go in and start changing this stuff. And I know because I helped him do it last time. He will cut the money to the Palestinian entities. Just cut it. No. There is a law on the U.S. books that people who engage in violent anti-American rhetoric are not eligible to receive foreign aid. Well, I would put Hamas and the Taliban in that category. And so it becomes entirely at the president's discretion to cut that, and he should do it on day one.
Yeah, there's a new sheriff in town, and they've made it really clear. We just have a minute or so. Judge Weinberg.
Victoria, good to talk to you again. What always troubled me is this Biden administration giving all that sanction relief and all that money and the Obama people to Iran. Why didn't they wake up and understand they're our mortal enemy who have pledged to destroy us? I don't understand that mentality.
No, this goes back to 1979, Judge. I've been thinking a lot about this with the passing of President Carter, and this is not the time to, litigate his Middle East legacy, but to send our sympathies to the Carter family. But there was a pervasive sense then that the Islamic Republic could potentially be a friend to the United States. And we saw that revived under Barack Obama, and we saw it revived like a Frankenstein monster once again under Joe Biden, that somehow these people are reasonable. They're not. They had a hit out on President Trump. They were behind the attacks of October 7th. They're behind the ongoing Houthi attacks in the Red Sea. They're providing drones to Russia for the war in Ukraine. And I think President Trump knows better than anyone else these people are not our friends. And he has been very, very clear to them that they will not be getting a nuclear weapon on his watch. I support him 100%.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Victoria Coates, we love you. If we don't get a chance to talk to you before then.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody at WABC.
Thank you. We love you, Victoria Coates.